Okay, wow. Get ready, because today we are diving deep into the world of Goddess Kali.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, this is going to be a wild ride. We're talking about an energy that can totally kickstart a spiritual revolution.
Oh, absolutely.
But it also, like, demands a level of surrender that most people just aren't prepared for.
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
It's true. So I am so excited to dive in with you.
Yeah.
What is it about Kali that makes her so different from, the typical image of a gentle, nurturing goddess?
She really doesn't fit that mold at all, does she?
Right.
I mean, she's raw power. She's untamed cosmic energy.
Oh, wow.
She's not here to comfort you. She's here to transform you.
And that transformation sounds like it can be pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're talking about confronting your deepest fears, letting go of your ego.
Right.
That can really shake you to your core.
Exactly. Kali really tests you, pushes you to your absolute limit. It's like you're staring into a mirror and it's reflecting back all the things you try to hide even from yourself. And then you have this choice. Do you run from it?
Right.
Or do you surrender to it and see what it has to teach you?
It's like that story where Rojarshinandi encountered that scary female entity.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then found healing at a Kali temple.
Yeah.
It's like she showed him the darkness before she showed him how to overcome it.
That's such a perfect example. It really captures that duality of Kali, She's terrifying.
Right.
But she's also a source of immense healing and power.
So, how do we tap into that healing and power?
The key is surrender.
Okay, so it's not just about saying a few prayers or making offerings.
No, it's much deeper than that.
Wow.
It's a fundamental shift in your being.
Oh, wow.
A willingness to let go of control and face whatever arises.
So it's a lot more than like traditional or gentler forms of spiritual practice.
It is. It's really a path of its own. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
So who thrives in that kind of energy?
Who is drawn to this path? It's not for everyone. It takes a certain kind of inner strength. A warrior spirit, and we call those the Viras, the spiritual warriors, those who face their inner battles with courage.
Okay.
And she's considered their mother.
That's interesting because when you think about Kali and her fierceness,
right,
it's not the first thing that comes to mind.
No, not at all. It's almost like she's saying, I'm going to push you harder than anyone else, but you'll come out stronger than you ever imagined.
I love that. So for someone who's maybe feeling called to connect with Kali, but is a little intimidated by that intensity, where do they even begin?
Well, there are many paths.
Okay.
But one that's accessible and safe for anyone is the Adya Kali Stotra.
Okay. And for listeners who might not be familiar with stotras, what is a stotra?
It's kind of like a poetic prayer.
Okay.
It's a way to connect with the divine through words and sound.
Beautiful.
They're really powerful tools for focusing the mind and invoking specific energies.
So even if someone's not ready to fully dive into the depths of tantric Kali worship,
right,
they can still connect with her energy through this stotra.
Absolutely. And the very first line is like a key that unlocks the door to her presence.
What is that first line?
Onim Harim Shrim Adya Kalikaya Nama.
Wow.
And just chanting those syllables with intention can have a really profound effect.
It's amazing how much power there is even in just a few words.
It is.
And speaking of powerful imagery, we have to talk about Kali's iconography.
Yeah.
Her images are so striking, so full of symbolism, and they're just not your typical goddess depictions.
Definitely not. Every detail in her iconography is a clue to understanding her nature.
Let's break some of that down.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Daka Kali image, for example.
Okay.
She's standing on Shiva.
Yes.
She's holding weapons, a skull, and there are these 4 figures at her base that represent different levels of Ishwara or godliness.
Right. A lot to unpack there.
There is a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Let's start with her standing on Shiva. Okay.
That's a powerful image.
It is.
I mean, it feels dominant.
Yeah.
Maybe even aggressive.
It's not really about dominance in the way we usually think about it.
Okay.
It's more about the interplay of creation and destruction.
How so?
Think of it like this. Even the most powerful creative force needs a container, a grounding, to avoid chaotic destruction.
Right.
And that's Shiva's role here.
So he's like the anchor that keeps her energy from spiraling out of control.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that makes me wonder, for us, what are those grounding forces in our own lives that prevent our creative fire from, burning out of control?
Okay, so we talked about her standing on Shiva.
Yes.
What about the skull she's holding?
The skull represents ego death.
Okay.
The transcendence of the self.
Okay.
And Kali's showing us that true liberation comes from letting go of our limited sense of identity.
So she's not just about destruction for the sake of it.
No, not at all.
She's destroying the ego.
The illusion of separateness to reveal our true nature.
Our boundless nature.
Okay, and then we have these 4 figures.
Yes.
Representing even the highest gods, right? At her base.
Yes.
And so what does that tell us?
It shows that she transcends all limitations.
Wow.
She's above even the highest gods.
So it's like she's saying, I am beyond all concepts, all hierarchies, all boundaries.
Precisely. And that's such a powerful message for us to contemplate. What if we could tap into that limitless potential within ourselves?
Right.
What if we could transcend our fears and embrace our own inner strength? Just like Kali.
It's like she's inviting us all to become spiritual warriors in our own right.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Kali's energy challenges us to rise above limitations, to confront our shadow selves, and to emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before.
So it's not just about, like, aggression or brute force.
Right.
It's about harnessing that raw power and directing it towards positive transformation.
Yes, absolutely.
It's about breaking free from the limitations that we put on ourselves.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Kali's energy is so potent.
Yeah.
And it can be destructive if it's not channeled properly.
Right.
But when it's used consciously, it can be a force for immense growth and liberation. You know, it's like she's the ultimate, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Ooh, I love that.
Right.
It's perfect. It captures Kali's energy.
Yeah.
She pushes us to our limits, forces us to confront those fears, and then we emerge, like, totally transformed.
Right.
And speaking of transformation, I'm curious about the connection between Kali and combat.
Oh, yeah.
Because we often think of warriors as, you know, having this masculine energy.
Right, right.
But here we have this fierce goddess who embodies courage and resilience.
It is fascinating, isn't it? And when you think about the qualities of a warrior, you know, courage, discipline, a willingness to face fear,
right?
These all resonate with Kali's energy.
Yeah.
It's not just aggression for the sake of it. It's about harnessing that inner fire to overcome obstacles,
right?
Whether they're internal or external.
And even historically, we see figures like Shivaji Maharaj, who are believed to have, like, drawn upon Kali's energy to protect Dharma.
Exactly.
It's like she's the patron deity of those who are willing to fight for what's right.
Yeah.
Even when the odds are stacked against them.
It's incredibly inspiring, you know, to see that connection between these historical figures and Kali and how it reinforces her association with strength and resilience.
Totally. It makes you wonder how that energy can be channeled in the modern world.
Right.
I mean, we're not facing battles on horseback anymore.
No.
But we all have our own struggles, right?
We do.
Our own internal demons to conquer.
Absolutely. And that's where her teachings become so relevant, even for those of us who don't consider ourselves like warriors.
Right.
You know, that energy is about facing challenges head on.
Yeah.
With courage and determination.
So for someone who's drawn to her energy, but maybe a little intimidated, how do they start to connect with her in a safe way?
Well, remember the Mahakali Stotra?
Yeah.
That's a great starting point.
Okay.
It's a powerful yet gentle way to invoke her blessings and to familiarize yourself with her energy.
And for those who are just tuning in, just a reminder.
Yes.
A stotra is a Sanskrit hymn of praise. It's a way to connect with the divine through sound and vibration.
Exactly. And the Mahakali Stotra is considered particularly safe and beneficial.
Okay.
It's a way to open yourself to her energy without, you know, being overwhelmed by its intensity.
So even if someone's not ready to dive into like full-on Tantra, they can still benefit from the energy of the stotra.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that connecting with Kali is a journey.
Okay.
You know, it's not about forcing yourself to embrace her fierceness all at once. It's about taking those small steps, allowing her energy to work on you gradually.
So it's a gradual unfolding.
Exactly.
This process of surrender and transformation happens over time.
Exactly. And as you deepen your connection with her, you'll find that her fierceness is not something to be feared.
Oh, interesting.
It's a force that can empower you to break free from those limitations and step into your full potential.
It's like she's showing us that true strength comes from embracing the darkness as well as the light.
Yes.
From confronting our fears and shadows instead of running from them.
Precisely. And that's where the real transformation happens, when we stop resisting the parts of ourselves that we deem unacceptable.
Right.
And instead we learn to integrate them into our wholeness.
It's about recognizing that even the darkness has its purpose.
It does.
And that it's often through those challenging experiences that we discover our greatest strength.
Absolutely. And Kali's energy is all about guiding us through those dark places.
Yeah.
Helping us to emerge transformed and empowered on the other side.
Okay, so we've talked about Kali's intense energy, her symbolism, her connection to combat, even how to start connecting with her energy in a safe way.
Right.
But I'm curious about what this idea of surrender to the fierce actually looks like in practice.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example from your own life?
Sure. For me, surrendering to the fierce has meant letting go of my need for control and certainty. It's about embracing the unknown, even when it feels terrifying, and trusting that even in the midst of that chaos and destruction, there's a higher power at work guiding me towards my ultimate evolution.
That sounds like a pretty radical shift in perspective.
It is.
Most of us are conditioned to seek comfort, security, to avoid pain at all costs.
Of course, it's human nature to want to feel safe and protected, but true growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
So you're saying that sometimes we need to lean into the discomfort.
We do.
Allow ourselves to be broken open and transformed.
Exactly. And Kali's energy is all about pushing us to those edges, helping us to break through the limitations that we've created for ourselves.
It's like she's saying, I'm going to challenge you to your core.
Right.
I'm going to strip away everything that isn't essential.
Yeah.
So you can finally see your true self.
That's a powerful way to put it. It's through that stripping away that we discover who we truly are.
Yeah. And
from that place of authenticity, we can create a life that is more meaningful, joyful, and aligned with our soul's purpose.
It's interesting that even though we're talking about a goddess who is, associated with destruction and chaos.
Right.
The ultimate goal seems to be about peace.
Yeah.
Clarity, spiritual growth.
That's the paradox of Kali, isn't it? She represents those destructive forces of the universe, but also the transformative power that leads to creation and renewal.
It's like a forest fire that clears away the old growth to make way for new life.
Exactly. And that process of destruction and creation is constantly happening within us as well.
Right.
Every experience, every challenge, every moment of growth involves a letting go of the old and an embracing of the new.
So Kali's not just a deity to be worshipped.
Right.
She's an archetypal energy that we can learn from and embody in our own lives.
Absolutely. Her stories, her symbolism, her teachings, they all offer us this roadmap for navigating life's complexities and for embracing the transformative power of the divine feminine.
I love that. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the multifaceted nature of Kali and the depths of her teachings.
It's been a fascinating exploration, hasn't it? And, it's just the beginning.
Wow.
There's so much more to learn and discover about Kali and about the vast world of Shakti worship.
And I think that's what makes this so exciting.
It is.
It's not about finding all the answers.
Right.
It's about embracing the mystery.
Yeah.
And allowing ourselves to be continually transformed by her energy.
Well said. And as we, move towards the conclusion of our deep dive, I encourage everyone listening to reflect on what resonates with them most about Kali? What aspects of her energy are you drawn to?
Yeah.
What lessons does she offer for your own life journey?
Yeah, it's about finding that unique connection to this powerful goddess.
Yeah.
And allowing her to guide us on our path.
Exactly.
Towards greater awareness, courage,
It's a journey.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me as we were preparing for this deep dive was how often Kali is misunderstood.
Right.
People see that fierce image, and they get scared, or they just dismiss her as this destructive force.
They only see one side of the coin.
Yeah, they're missing that transformative power that lies beneath the surface.
So should we lean into her fierceness then?
I wouldn't say lean into it necessarily, more like, approach it with respect and a willingness to learn. Remember, Kali's not about blind aggression.
Right.
It's about harnessing that power and directing it towards positive transformation.
So finding that balance.
Exactly. That balance between the destructive and the creative.
Okay.
It's like that image of her standing on Shiva, right? He's the grounding force that prevents her energy from becoming chaotic and destructive.
Within each of us, we have that same dynamic.
Yes.
That the potential for both creation and destruction. Yeah. And it's up to us to find that balance.
Absolutely.
And maybe the skull that she's holding is a reminder of that.
It is.
That we have to let go of the old.
Yes.
To make space for the new.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's through that process of ego death that we discover our true potential.
Wow.
And Kali's that guide who helps us navigate that journey.
She is like the ultimate spiritual warrior.
She is.
Showing us how to face our fears and emerge victorious.
And remember, she's not just this, distant deity. Wow. She's an energy that exists within each of us.
We all have that fierce potential waiting to be awakened.
Yeah.
So for those listening who are feeling called to connect with Kali, what's the most important thing to remember?
Approach her with respect.
Okay.
With humility and a willingness to surrender.
Okay.
Don't try to control the process. Yeah. Allow her energy to work on you and trust that she'll guide you towards your highest good.
It's about letting go of that need to understand everything.
It is.
And just allowing ourselves to be transformed.
Exactly. And remember, connecting with Kali is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, moments of darkness, moments of, blinding light.
Right.
But through it all, she will be there.
Wow.
Guiding you, challenging you.
Yeah.
And ultimately leading you towards liberation.
That's powerful. It's been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
We have.
Of Kali's mysteries.
There's always more to discover, isn't there?
There is. And that's the beauty of it.
Yes.
That the journey never truly ends.
It doesn't.
So what are your thoughts on Mahakali? Have you had any experiences with Shakti worship that you'd like to share?
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it. Maybe a particular practice that resonated with you. Yeah. Or an insight that shifted your perspective.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity.
Yes.
And given you a glimpse into the fascinating world of this powerful goddess.
And if you'd like to explore this further, we highly recommend subscribing to the Tantra Quest channel for more insights into the depths of Goddess Kali and the Shakta tradition.
Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive.
Yes, please do.
And share this episode with anyone who you think might be interested in this, in exploring the mysteries and teachings of Goddess Kali.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep driving deep.
And may the fierce grace of Kali guide you on your journey.